August 8th, 1918. General Ludendorff would later call it the Black Day of the German Army. 600 tanks had smashed through the lines. But the real terror came from the sky. British aircraft descended up to 15 kilometers behind German lines. It was the day that changed the course of the war. In March 1918, Germany had launched its last great offensive, Operation Michael. They advanced 50 kilometers. Paris was only 70 kilometers away. But there was a problem. Air superiority was no longer theirs. The German Air Force was at its peak in early 1918. During Bloody April, they shot down 150 British aircraft. But the British were not behind in production. In March alone, they produced 2,500 new planes. Germany produced 1,200. General Rawlinson's plan was radical. The tanks would break the lines, but air power? Air power would not blink. British Air Commander Hugh Trenchard had developed the doctrine of controlled air. They were no longer just fighting enemy aircraft. Planes would become the eyes of the tanks. Special signaling systems were developed. Tank commanders sent messages to aircraft using smoke. Advance! Retreat! Enemy here! It was the first true air-ground coordination. 4:20 a.m. 2,070 aircraft took off. 800 were assigned solely to reconnaissance and bombing. The rest would keep enemy planes away. When the fog lifted, the Germans were in shock. Aircraft were flying at treetop level. Machine guns raked the trenches. Communication lines were cut within the first 30 minutes. The first report to reach General Ludendorff's headquarters read, "Tanks everywhere, aircraft everywhere. We don't know what to do." By the end of the day, 16,000 prisoners, 200 guns captured, 15 kilometers gained. But the real blow was to morale. German soldiers now knew the war could not be won. 100 days later, the war would end. Amiens was the beginning. But the lesson was clear. Without air superiority, modern war cannot be won. 20 years later, Germany would learn the same lesson. The secret of Blitzkrieg was not in the panzers, but in the Stukas. But that is another story.
War is not just dates and maps. It is decisions, consequences, and the unbearable weight of history. Here, we do not glorify war. We witness it. We remember it. We learn from it. If you believe history deserves truth, not propaganda, if you believe the fallen deserve to be remembered, then don't just watch. Subscribe. Stand with the witnesses. Become one of them.